Okay. Well, if you're live with me right now, well, just take note that we'll be going live by 7:30 for our weekly Tuesday live stream. All right. So I have different groups joining me in different locations, whether you're on Zoom or whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Now is the best time to let me know if you can hear me and see me well. Thank you so much. All right. Let's just give the rest some time to come in. Right, if you can hear me and see me well, just give me a shout out in the comment section or the chat function. So at least I know you are hearing me and seeing me properly before we continue. So for those who are joining me for the first time, all right, so this is Edmund and I'm your co-founder for Singapore Real Estate Insider. Especially for every Tuesday, this is what we do to kind of, enhance your knowledge in terms of property. And most importantly is to educate, okay, all of us as BC professionals and homeowners to take property from different perspectives and really to take note of property every single year so that we can review our properties in a more structured way and also to apply the different strategies across when we want to do for property. Okay, so we'll do this weekly live stream every single Tuesday at 7:30. And of course, if on days that they are more, we have certain appointments that we have to run through, I will definitely inform the group ahead that hey, we need to postpone it at a different time. And if you have yet to actually join us in the group, I will just put the link inside the chat function as well. So do make yourself into that group so we can actually keep you updated of all the latest property matters. And the rest of you who are here with me, I will also want to thank you for actually joining us. So give me a second, let me see what I can do here. Let's see. This is not what I want. Yeah, great. I'm seeing some of you are actually coming online. Okay. All right. So I've already posted the group that you can actually join us. All right. So this private community is where we will touch base on all the different property matters. And if let's say there's any questions you have regarding property or different situation of yours that you want to acknowledge, you can also use this group to actually communicate with us. And inside we host different type of trainings, especially for our weekly live stream. We will touch on various topics about property, and today, what we're going to cover is everything about Piccadilly as well as Live and MB that you have questions about. In a short while, I will also be sharing with you where you can post your questions to. Okay, right. So I'll be putting in the link that you can post your questions regarding these two projects. And if you need any questions about it, this is the session that we're going to answer your questions regarding Piccadilly as well as Live and MB. Okay. So let's see. Okay. Since we are live right now, okay, I'm sure you guys can see me and hear me. Great. All right. So while we are waiting for the rest to come in, so across the board, if you have any form of questions regarding, okay, regarding the Live and MB as well as Piccadilly, please share here so that I know what you all need to know and what are the key points that perhaps from my own opinions or my views I can share with you. So I'm just give you guys some time to post your questions on this live stream. Okay, I see some of you actually did send me some of the questions, and I'll address them in a short while. All right, so every Tuesday we do this live stream. It could be ranging from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and I think the longest that I've run was about 1.5 hours. All right, that is because there's a lot of questions from the entire community. And for those who are joining me live, thank you so much for joining me in this evening. But for those of you who are watching the replay, okay, I hope that this session will also help you acknowledge that if you are able to join us every single week on our weekly live stream, that will actually help you in terms of a property better, and you can understand what are the latest strategies across the board. All right, so we have the very first question is which one should I buy? Okay, well, So if you have a question regarding Piccadilly or Live and MB, right, which one should you buy, right? I think there's a lot of understanding that I also need to know lah. Okay. Later on, I also share with you certain frameworks that before I even decide on these two properties, what are the key things that I want to find out first, and what are the areas of concerns or maybe certain advantage that I should be thinking of before I even jump into which property should I be purchasing. All right, so today, if you have any questions regarding Piccadilly, regarding Live and MB, please post it in the chat function, okay, so that I know what questions you want me to answer. If not, you're coming on this live stream with me, it's just looking at me and you have no questions, then I think your time is better off somewhere else, or with your family, have your dinner. All right, so if you have any specific questions regarding Piccadilly or Live and MB, you want to post it out so that I'll be able to actually address it for you. All right, so for the very first question that I'm getting right is like, which one should I be choosing? All right, I think this is a very general questions that most of us, whenever we buy property, we will ask this kind of general questions. Maybe for a start, right, I want you to actually think through, okay? So instead of asking yourself, what type of property should you buy for these two, I want you to kind of change your question a little bit. Okay, why are you buying the new launch property at the moment? Okay, ask yourself this question. So many a times when I was consulting a lot of families out there, I realized they are not having the kind of clarity that they have regarding purchasing of property. And this is why whenever there's any hype out there, they will usually just go with the flow. Like, oh, this is the latest hype around, and they kind of just went into it and not knowing what is happening. Okay, so today, if let's say you are buying, I mean, right now, of course, I have, because of these two new property launches right out there. So this is very hot. Everybody's talking about it. They were like, oh, everybody was selling about Live and MB and Piccadilly. And the question is, why do you need to buy these two, either one of these two properties? What's the main reason? Okay, so far when I was talking to many of my clients, right, a lot of times when they're going for either properties, okay, so it could be you, but I just share with you some thought process in my mind regarding these two properties. All right, will you think this will help or not? Give me some response so that I know you guys are listening in to me. Because if not, it's just me talking, and I feel very bored. Okay, the moment I feel bored, then I will not share as much already. Okay, thank you so much for your response. Okay, all right. So first of all, I want whenever we want to buy a property, right, I always share with my clients that today you must ask yourself, why do you want to buy property now? Okay, let me share my screen here, and I'll give you certain key elements that you should be thinking through first. Okay, before you start doing anything. Okay, I think this is very crucial. Okay, so one of the very few factors today, if you intend to actually enter into the property market, is you need to ask yourself, okay, you need to ask yourself why. Okay, why are you looking to buy property now? Why now? Okay, perhaps you have your own reasons, and generally, when people are starting to look at properties, there's only a couple of reasons. The first reason is that today you don't own any property. Okay, how many of you, if you don't own any property here, you can also comment. Okay, if you don't own any property now, so likelihood is you want to buy your first property. Agree? All right. And what are the other reasons that maybe you are looking at property right now is perhaps you already own a property, okay, whether it's a HDB or condo. Maybe you are thinking of, upgrading. Okay, upgrading in terms of size, in terms of location, okay, in terms of your environment. So this is also one of the very common reasons why people are looking at property. Okay, I think many of us, when we are in property, chances are whenever there's a lot of news out there about property, we will kind of kepo lah, we kepo, then we want to find out what is happening. So that's why we go and, listen in to some of the talks, or maybe even some of the agents will kind of pitch you in terms of the presentation or why this property A is good, why property B is good. So it's good that if let's say you are in the community, that's what we are also trying to achieve, to allow you to, gain certain knowledge about property so that when it comes to your own decision-making process, all right, it's easier for you to make a decision. So of course, on the other hand, we also have certain group of buyers, okay, or should I say homeowners, what they are looking at, they already own, okay, whether it's a HDB or condo, they are looking at downsizing. Okay, downsizing doesn't mean that it's a downsize of size. Sometimes it's the the downsizing based on the kind of lifestyle that you want. Okay, perhaps you have been living in a very big 4 bedroom or even a landed property kind of thing. You find that hey, maybe due to age, most of your children are already moving out, and you don't necessarily need such a big space. And that's a time where people are looking at downsizing. All right, so if today you are also thinking about downsizing, right? So if you are thinking of downsizing as well, so can also share with us in the group so that I know what kind of profile you are in today. Okay. Of course, there's also another fourth group. Okay. A fourth group meaning you are an investor. Okay. When you're an investor, chances are you may already own a property. Either you have been keeping it for renter. Okay. But for renter, and maybe for the last couple of years, right, you realize that actually your rental rates are not as good as before. Or perhaps the growth opportunity, the growth rate of your current property that you have been owning for the last 5 to 10 years are not exactly the highest, and it's not up to your expectation. So perhaps that's why whenever there's any this kind of new properties out there, you're kind of exploring. Okay, you're exploring whether this property is it good for you that you can swap. Okay, you want to swap your existing property to another property. Of course, what we are generally seeing is that these are the 4 types. And of course, there's another type. Okay, so if this is you, please also, like I say, be transparent. We are very safe here. We are all learning here, right? The fifth type is that I just see, look, okay, and I go kepo lah. Okay, nothing wrong. Okay, Singapore, I think we are all very known for window shopping, for property, for cars. We take a look so that we can keep ourselves updated of the property matters. All right, but today's session is very specific. Okay, today's session is because we are touching on Piccadilly and Live and MB. So if today you are already in the market, perhaps you already just sold your property and you're looking to purchase the next property, this is the best time for you to actually ask questions pertaining to your situation, because this is the very only time that you get access direct and you can ask questions without paying, okay, at the moment. Okay, so like I say, why we want to start out this community is really for us to learn properly together. All right, so the very first question I always will ask is, why do you want to do it now? Okay, why now to look at whether it's Live at MB or Piccadilly? Because how many of you agree, and one certain response from here, how many of you agree that today, if let's say today we are looking at property, okay, there's a few factors that you are also thinking about before you even look at it. The first thing is, how many of you agree that prices are actually on an all-time high? How many of you agree? If you agree, just type in agree, okay? Just type in agree inside the chat so that I know that you are responding to me, or if not, I don't know who is here, who is not. Okay, if today you know that the prices are increasing, just type in agree. And second thing, how many of you also agree that with the new cooling measures, okay, it has certain implication in terms of the property market as well? Okay, same thing. If you agree, just type in agree. And third, we're talking about the war. We're talking about COVID. Okay, are also affecting part of this entire climate. That today, if let's say you are really looking at these two properties, why are you only looking at it now? Okay, is it because it's new, or is it because it's the next biggest hype? That's why you jump into it. So a lot of mistakes homeowners make is they bought into the hype. Okay, the hype of it. We're not saying the hype is no good, but they bought into the hype of the situation, and that's how they make decisions. All right. So in our consultations, whenever we got our clients in, we always want to eliminate. We want to eliminate the emotional aspect of selecting properties. Okay, because the more emotional we are, the more hyped up we are because of external factors, the decision making process is not going to be great. All right, we tend to make mistakes because of that. All right, so ask ourselves the questions today before you choose even this property, right? Why are you even looking at now? Prices are damn high. The cooling measures are still around. Definitely, are there going to be a longer term correction? The war and the COVID situations are not over. How will this implicate Singapore? And the very most important thing that is very close to our heart, as busy professionals and homeowners, is the interest rate. Okay, interest rate are also going to rise. How many of you agree? All right, if you agree, just type in agree. Right, so if you look at the entire market, actually now is not the best time to enter market. to enter the property market, ma. Prices are high, interest rates are going to go increase. So how many of you actually have genuine concerns about this? You have genuine concerns that, hey, that's why even today, if I want to enter into the property market, I should just hold on. I should just hold on to it. Okay, how many of you wanted to do it maybe the last 2 to 3 years and then you decided against it? Okay, that's why I'm mentioning today, even before you think about Piccadilly and Leaf and MB, you must start asking yourself is, first of all, why are you doing this? Is it for upgrading? Is it for a change of environment? Or is it because you want to swap your current non-performing property to the next property? Then the next question you must really ask yourself is, today, since the prices are going to be high, interest rates are going to go increase, does it make sense for you to enter the market? Why would you want to wait from when everything is high enough, then you purchase a property? If I ask every one of you, right, will you enter the market back in 2020? Will you enter the market when it's 2020? How many of you want to share your views? If versus 2020 versus now, okay, if given a choice to go back in time, will you enter the market in 2020 or will you go back or will you enter the market in 2022? Can we see some answers? Let's see some response here. Are the rest with me or not? Are the rest with me or not? What about the rest? Are you responding? If you are responding on to whether you're on Facebook Live, you're on my YouTube, or you're on Zoom, all right, do respond so that I know what you're thinking about and what can we do. All right, so yeah, you're right. Thank you so much for your response. Yeah, so today, many a times, if we are intending to enter the property market, if we have a choice, we will go to 2020 because you know that the prices has already increased, right? Ever since, if you look at 2022, okay, 22, which is now. So let me share with you a very big mistake most families or homeowners make is that they tend to time the market. Okay, they tend to time the market. Time to market in what sense? Okay, let me just give you guys a scenario, and maybe this is something that you can relate to, or maybe some of your colleagues, friends, or close ones also are doing the same thing. So, for example, if let's say when we talk about 2020, when the time comes, okay, and during that time, because it's COVID, so there's a lot of uncertainty. So, how many of you agree that during then you are also quite skeptical to enter the market? Okay, so if this is you, right, that you're worried, because COVID, because why? COVID situation happened, you're concerned about property market, maybe will come down, it will not go up. So you waited. So you wait to 2021. Okay? Then when 2021 happened, things are a little bit better. Okay, of course, we're not out of COVID. Then the war came. Or the war came, then there are information releasing that, Singapore budget is going to, do more taxes. All this information come in. Then you start to, like here you waited, right? You are worried, so you wait. Then 2021, you wait again. Why? Because now I worry. Or later on the budget situation or everything going to increase, then I shouldn't look at property. Right? So if you have missed this boat of 2021, then you continue to wait again. Now we are in 2022. What will happen? Our interest rate comes in, our cooling measures, now prices are higher even. So the question is, will you also still ask yourself to wait? So by you waiting, right, basically 3 years have passed, 2 years, 3 years has passed. So we ask ourselves the question, if today, given a choice for you to actually enter the market, that is why you must always ask yourself, why are you entering the market? Why are you today looking to entering the market? I think this is very crucial. All right, if you have a compelling reason because of family size or because of schools that you need to really move, then it makes sense for you to actually enter the market regardless, regardless whether the prices are high or not. So that's why a lot of times when, like for your questions of which one should you be buying, let us dive deeper a little bit to understand and get clarity about your own plans. All right, because today, if you ask me, it may not be the best time because there are so much uncertainty, right? All the while from 2020. So there's always two groups of uh, homeowners, right? Whether you will take action or not. Okay, let me share with you these two groups. All right, there are two groups of homeowners for you to make decisions. Okay, the first group is Today, if back in 2020, you will say you want to wait because you are worried the prices will not go up because of COVID situation. Then when it comes to 2021, you will say that, oh, Edmund, I think I'm also very worried. Let us wait a little bit longer because it seems like things are a little bit uncertain. COVID haven't opened. But yeah, lah, prices high already. Well, I kind of missed the boat already. Wow, then let me wait, wait for things to come down again. All right, then you wait again, 2022. Wow, now I should have just entered 2 years ago. Prices now is so high. Wow, with the new higher interest rate, should I be entering the market? I shouldn't. I should just wait out for things to be better. So you continue to wait. So this is the first group of buyers, right? I always share that today, no matter whether the market is up or the market is down, you cannot make decisions to enter the market because why? You are timing it. Okay, the moment when you're timing the market, right, you will lose yourself one. Because at whichever stage, whether it's the bottom, you will be worried the prices cannot go up. And when it's on the top, when the prices are the most expensive, you also don't dare to enter because you are worried the prices are too high and you want to wait for it to come down. How many of you can safely just touch your heart and share that you actually miss multiple boats in terms of property because of this kind of situation? You keep waiting and you keep waiting and you keep waiting. All right, so as I mentioned for Piccadilly and Live and MB, there's nothing wrong with these two properties. Okay, but your decision-making process has to have the certain clarity of why do you want to do it. Okay, I hope that this can answer your questions. And from a general question, of course, if you really want to dive in to compare, let's say today you already understand your why. Why do you want to do certain things, right? And you want to compare these two properties and to see which one fits into your own situation. All right, later on, I will actually put out a link where you can actually just apply online to actually do a consultation with us so that we can dive deeper into your own personal situations. And that's where we can help you to see which project is actually much more ideal for you. All right, it's not so much about these two, which one is a lower PSF, which one is a better design. It's not that. There's a lot more things in property that we help our clients in, and that's why if you are reaching out to us for the first time, I will run through with you what are the key components that you should be taking note of for property. Okay, I think this is very, very important. Okay, so this is definitely one. All right, so I want to give you guys a very quick overview about certain things about these two properties, right? That before you even decide which one you should go for, all right, there are a few components that I want you to think through, and this may act as a guidance for you. And this is the framework that we use to help our clients whenever we are selecting properties for them. So, like this afternoon, I just completed a deal with a buyer, right? We also went through multiple rounds of discussions. We get very clear in terms of their numbers, their finances, and what their needs and wants is before we even buy the property. All right. So after 2 weeks of discussion, she has a very clear understanding about why she purchased, and that's why this afternoon, I just came from there. She just purchased her first property for investment. All right. So there's a lot more things. But today, before you even start looking into whether it's a Piccadilly or versus Leave, right? Okay, Leave and MB, right? So you have to kind of understand these two properties type, okay, and these two properties differences. Okay, so what are the key points before we even look into properties we should be basing on? Okay, let me share with you the first point that you should be looking at. First of all, you must ask yourself the location. Okay, you must ask yourself the location. So location, most people will say that, oh, because I live near Farrer, so I should choose Piccadilly. Oh, I have been staying in the East Coast for the longest time. Then likelihood you just go for Live and MB, right? So that's usually the way that most people look at property and select property. We're not saying that that is incorrect. But what you are doing is you are basing on your own comfort. Okay, you're comfortable with it, and you're basing on your familiarity to purchase the property. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, I think a majority of us, 90% of us, when we buy property, is we base on, oh, because I've stayed here before, and today if I stay here, then I should buy somewhere around here, or because your parents are staying nearby. Okay, usually when we buy our property, is oh, because my parents are staying nearby, I want to stay near there, and that's how you base your purchase on. So nothing wrong if you've been staying in Farrer nearby area, you will buy Piccadilly. Simple. And if you are buying at Leaf and MB because you're staying in the east. So usually that's how people do it. All right, but what we look at is a different component. Okay. We inject new components. Why? Because today, whatever we are going to buy, let me share with you this concept. Today, whatever we are going to buy, okay, this is how I always guide my clients, is you want to sell it one day. Okay? Chances are whatever we're going to buy today is not going to be your last property. So we must always look at how are we going to sell this property first. And in order for me to do what? In order for me to grow my property value. This is the very key component that we inject in all our clients' properties so that we have an exit plan. Okay, we are able to know what's our exit strategy. Okay, this is very crucial. Okay, so today it's not you can just buy any type of properties, no problem. Okay, you can buy where you want, where you like. But the question is, in the next 5, 10 years, or even 12 years down the road, how are you able to exit from this property to move forward with your plans? Right. So in our consults, whenever we guide our clients in, right, we always want to plan out their exit strategy as well. All right. So when we have our exit strategy, then it helps them to have a better sense of, okay, what type of property should they be purchasing. All right. So instead of looking at locations like whether you're comfortable there, you're familiar there, whether your parents there, you may want to what? Inject new element, new perspective into a property of how are you intending to sell. Does it make sense or not? If it makes sense, just type in yes. Just type in yes inside the chat. All right, so that I know that you are actually functioning. Okay. All right, I do have some response here. What about those in my Zoom sessions? You guys are extremely quiet. Is it that y'all cannot hear me, or y'all can, or y'all are like multitasking? All right, like I said, we are doing this live as a very small community. That's why we are able to, do this within the next 45 minutes or an hour to update you of all these strategies that we are using. All right, so in location, because we want to look at how, remember our objective is what? Our objective is to make sure that our property also grow in value, right? So instead of looking at familiarity, whether we are staying near parents, right, one of the key components that we look at, okay, is we are looking at growth. So before you start thinking about which property you need to buy, maybe you need to ask yourself this question: which area has a higher growth potential? Because only higher growth potential will give you value. Okay, so the question is, what is growth? Growth means your value over time, over the next 5 to 10 years, grow quicker than the rest. Okay, in a nutshell, all properties in Singapore will have growth performance one. Okay, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it will sure grow. But the question is, you must ask yourself is, how quick? Okay, you must ask yourself, if today I choose between these two, okay, if let's say you're buying for own stay, fair, doesn't matter. But even if you're buying for own stay, you also want to make sure that your property grows in value over time. And the best is the property can grow quicker than other people. All right. So you must always give yourself this key component of what is the growth potential of these two locations. Okay, what's the growth potential? Which one has a higher growth potential? How many of you want to make a guess which one has a higher growth potential? Come, share with me your answers, whether it's Piccadilly or Leaf and MB. Okay, based on your understanding, there's no right or wrong answer here. Okay, it's just based on your own understanding. Maybe you have done some research yourself, or perhaps you have read up certain articles and they were saying certain things. All right, share with me. If from a growth potential, how do you see whether it's Piccadilly or whether it's Leaf and MB? All right, so we do have some answers here. All right, some of you mentioned is Piccadilly. Okay, so the next question I will want to ask you is why? Why do you think that is Piccadilly? Okay, let's say, let's be devil's advocate, right? Okay, let us ask ourselves, if let's say it's Piccadilly, okay, why? Why Piccadilly? Why do you find that the growth potential is there? Okay, what is the growth potential of this location? Okay, not so much of the project, but the location. Okay, because there are some arguments they say that, because Piccadilly is what makes development, is near the MRT, that's why the growth potential is there. Of course, we are not discounting that these are not important factors. But later on, I will share with you what are the few factors that contributes to growth in a certain property. How many of you want to know what contributes to actual growth in terms of a value for property? Okay, well, who wants to know? If you want to know, type in growth. All right. If you don't share, the word growth, then I just don't share lah. Then we can cut off this live stream earlier. Okay. All right. Great. All right. So there's a few elements that is very important for us to take note. And in a short while, I'll also be sharing the screens here so that you can actually see. Okay. Let me do this first. Give me a second. Okay. So let me just open up my one of my slides here. Which one is it? Too many slides. So let me think through. So I want to share with you is the potential, okay, of a certain area. So first of all, we must understand that today, if we are looking at the key considerations for property, right, it's not just about looking at it from a own personal perspective. Okay, first of all, you must definitely consider about locations, okay, and you want to consider your entry price. Okay, pricing is very very important. So if you want to compare between Piccadilly and Live and MB, you also must start comparing prices around, okay, all the properties around these two projects. You know, are you at the highest? Are you the lowest? Or are you in between? Okay, in between. In between. All right. Because today, if you don't look at the entry prices, right, you may end up buying the most expensive in not only in that project. We're not talking about that project, we're talking about in that area. And this is one of the reasons why there are some properties, even though they are new properties, they are still not making profits. Okay, because of the hype around. Okay, there's a lot of hype around, but when there's hype, meaning it's very exciting. When it's exciting, buyers tend to buy with emotions and they never look into what is happening in their property. So one of the key mistakes many homeowners they fall into whenever there's new launches like this is they buy into the hype. Okay, they really buy into the hype, and chances are whether you are buying it overpriced or you are the most expensive in that area, you also don't know because you already queue, you already ballot for it, and you just want to purchase it because it's something very fun, very sexy, very exciting. Okay, so my friends, let me share with you. Buying is very, very easy one. Okay, it's how you're going to sell your property in future. Which is why in our consultations for so many years, over a decade that we've been doing this, we always inject extra consideration factors into our property purchase. So that even in the next 5, 10, 12, 15 years, right, our property will still be valuable versus the others. So one of the key areas that I look at entry price, right, is today you never want to be the highest. Okay? And we are not talking about highest in that project. You don't want to be the highest in the project. Yes, definitely. And you also don't want to be the highest in the surrounding. Because the moment when we are there, it will pose certain thing I call risk. Okay, you will have a higher risk versus a lot of other properties in your surrounding. So it has happened before. Okay, we're talking about for those who maybe if you are familiar with Sky Habitat, okay, in Bishan, prime location. But when they were launched, the prices is a future price. Okay, but people bought, it was still sold out. But when it comes to selling, many of them have to wait for the second cycle of the property market before they can make a profit. Okay, so it will take more time. So my guideline for all my clients is always, how can I help you to make the biggest profit in the shortest period of time? That's my objective. Okay, and another example, maybe you are also very familiar, J Gateway. Okay, J Gateway, when it was launched in 2012, it was launched way above the surrounding prices. Okay, so they were easily $400 to $500 per square foot higher than the surrounding. So when the people need to sell in the first cycle, which is usually the first 3 to 5 years, they realize the market has not kept up to the pricings that they purchase. So eventually what they have to do, they have to wait out for the next cycle before the prices went up to a comfortable point where when they sell, they still make some profits. All right, so if your highest is not that today, if you're buying the highest, you cannot sell your property. Okay, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that you need to wait longer. Okay, you need to wait longer for you to exit. And by waiting longer, it means that we are at a liability that if, let's say, in between these 10, 12 years, there are certain family plans that we need to actually move out or sell this property, we may get stuck because the property value, first of all, is not as good. And then I don't want to sell my property. But if I don't sell my property, I cannot move forward with my plans. All right, so there's always this dilemma during that period. So one of the key things when we look at entry price is we want to have flexibility. That's why we never want to go for the highest. All right. If we have a choice, of course we want to go for lowest lah. Who don't want, right? We want to go for lowest. All right, but let us ask ourselves. Sometimes it's really impossible for us to get even the lowest price. But so that's why what we want to achieve is at least we are in between. All right, on the lower side, it gives us a better margin whenever we are looking at property. Okay, so these are some of the injections of entry price that we look at. And of course, you need to look at always the rentability and rental yield. Okay, this is very, very crucial. And for whether it's live on MB or Piccadilly, you also must start studying the rentability around that location. And I want to give you guys a guideline. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people will always tell you the rosy pictures. But in my consults, in my community, I always share the truth. Okay, everything is very open. I'm very transparent. I don't hide things. Whatever is good, I will tell you is good. Whatever is not so good, I will tell you not so good. So you also must study about the rentability in that marketplace. So how can you actually do it on your own? Let me give you guys a tip that you guys can actually do it. What you need to do is go to some of all these free platforms if you have. Okay, for us it's because we paid for more detailed answers. We are able more detailed data. That's why we are able to get even the specific units, the specific floor size. But if you don't have, you can just go to URA. Okay, you go to URA. If let's say you are choosing Live and MB, then you can actually choose some of the Mountbatten properties around there, and then you just have an idea. Okay, what are the rents currently that people are paying? Okay, so but you must take note. Right now, rental rates for the past 1 year has been increasing, and it will only continue increase for the next 2 to 3 years as well. So you must be mindful that today your rental rates potentially is the highest, okay, that you can get over the next 5-6 years. Okay, will it continue to be that high? I highly doubt so. But at least for the next maybe 2 to 3 years, 4 years, I will still see it going up. Right. So if today you compare, let's say Live and MB, you open up some of the Mountbatten area units, or maybe some of the properties in Amber or Mayor, and you do some comparison. Like let's say today you're buying a 3-bedroom unit. If you intend to buy this property and you may want to stay one, it doesn't mean that you want to buy and rent it out, but you want to also have a safety net. Safety net is that in the event if anything happens, if the property really come out and you really don't like it and you want to rent it out, you still want to have a safety net that you can still rent. Okay, so you will, even you are buying for own stay, you also must do this exercise. Very important. So when you go to URA, you can do some comparison and you see how much they are, XXX. Okay, so this is what most agents do. Okay, they like to tell you, oh, this area, wow, now rent 4,000. Future sure can go 5,000. Why you don't worry? Because yours is going to be a new property. Your property is only going to be ready in 3 to 4 years or 5 years down the road. So by then the market is very good. You can rent it out. How many of you hear this pitch many times? Okay, I tell you, salespeople are like that, right? They want to tell you everything good. All right. On the other hand, I like to play safe. Okay, my keywords whenever I share with my clients is safe. I want to be safe and kiasu a little bit lah. Kiasu kiasi lah. That's what we do for our consultation. What I want to achieve is that today I want to base on today's rent. Okay, I want to base on today's renter, and I use that renter to justify should I be buying the property. Not the inflated future prices, but I want to use today. Let's say the renter is 4,000. Based on my monthly mortgage, based on my loan, based on my CPF deduction, everything, right? Can I sustain this property if somebody is paying me 4,000 rental to cover my interest and cover my principal? Does it make sense? Because if the renter you need, so this is one of the biggest mistakes. Most people when they buy property is they want to max out whatever loan capability, their borrowings as much as they can. Okay, so when they are doing that, then they are actually stretching themselves. So sometimes it don't make sense. I do have seen some properties by other clients, right? when they came to us, they show us how their performance of their property. They are paying 6,000. 6,000, okay, for their monthly mortgage, but yet their rental is only 4,000. Don't make sense, one. But they are still doing it. And I asked them, do you know that this is a negative situation? He said, yeah, but I don't know what to do because if I sell my property right now, I'm losing some money, so I just continue rent it at a low rate. So there are a lot of people that who come to us, we realize that many a times their properties are not performing well enough, and yet they are continuing holding on to the property, but they are making the hole bigger and bigger and bigger. Which is why whenever we look at properties, whether you are looking at Piccadilly and or Live and MB, you also must consider the rentability. Okay, and rentability is not tagged to the property. Okay, rentability is tagged to your affordability. Okay, your affordability, because today you are paying mortgage, ma. Okay, depending on the age, your capability in terms of a loan. Today, if you are really using this property as a form of investment, then you must make sure that you lower down your monthly mortgage as much as possible. Okay, so for example, just 1 month before, when I have a client who bought a property at Midtown, okay, example, right? So it's a 2-bedroom unit. So the guys are, the buyers are actually a little bit older. They are already in their 50. Okay, so for them to undertake a property there is going to be very tedious. All right, so when we calculated, it really don't make sense, because for anyone at their age, even though they are able to pay a property for $2 million, their monthly mortgage is going to be very, very high. It will be easily 7, 8, 9,000. So then you start looking at that area, whether that property is worth to rent it out. Can they rent the property out even at 9,000 or even 7, 8,000? It cannot happen. So then it makes purchasing a property at that age, at that location, don't make sense. But what we did was, later on, we structure their finances. Okay, although they are in their 50s, all right, we managed to structure it to half their monthly mortgage. Okay, so we halve it to about 3,000 plus to 4,000 instead. So then it makes sense for them to purchase the Midtown property, because the Midtown property is able to command at least about 4,000 niche kind of rental to cover their mortgage. All right. So this is a form of investments that they're looking at. So today, my friends, if today you are buying a property and you don't know how to structure your finances to kind of save money, you have to be extra careful, especially for the many of you. Let's say you are buying these two properties purely for investment. You also need to make sure that your affordability and your monthly payment, right, makes sense when you are renting it out. Okay, it's not just about because I can afford 2 million, I buy a $2 million property. Okay, I never like that. Okay, so for example, like this afternoon, the client that she purchased, right? She has ability to buy 2.1 million. Okay, but can she buy it? She buy it. I also happy, right? Bigger property. Of course, I can help to sell in future also. But because I look at every aspect in terms of a property, not just about purchase, not just about how whether I like it or not. Those are information that you know yourself. But if let's say you are coming to an advisor and consultant, I have to add value to you by giving you different perspective of properties that you may not have seen it before, you may not have addressed it before, and that's how we are able to do discussion. So end up, we did not go for a $2.1 million property. She can, but it don't make sense. End up, we only get a $1.48 million property. Can you see the difference? And by doing that, first of all, her lower monthly installment reduces quite a fair bit. That property will be fully funded by renter in future when it's ready. And at the same time, she will have all these excess funds that she can deploy other instruments to make more money. So this is how we actually help our clients to actually save money, and you do not need to use a lot of money to make money. All right. So how many of you agree? Right? Let's say today, right? Let me give you guys an example. If let's say today 1 million can make me 200,000 versus 2 million will make me 200,000. You go for A or you go for B? Okay, let me see your answers, guys. Now share with me your answers. If today you have a choice to use 1 million to make 200,000 versus 2 million to make 200,000, which one will you want? A or B? So the idea is the same. It's just that sometimes when we are being bought into certain this property is so nice, this project is so good, everybody is talking about it. So when everybody is talking about it, that means things will be hyped up. So we always step away. Okay, I can share with you, I have many clients who are considering these two properties for sure. They already ballot, they already put in their check and everything. All right. But what they do is they still step back. They step back with us to analyze the situation. Okay. Some of them truly they need to purchase those property, great. Then we continue. But a majority of them, actually, these two properties, from a pricing perspective, from a timing perspective, from what they want in their property, these two properties cannot help them. But why? So when I ask them, so then why do you choose these two properties? Because everybody talking about it. This is the only two that they know. But they forgot that there's actually other properties out there that could be better for them. Right, so that's why consultations, personalized consultation is so important, whenever we are doing for clients out there. And this is one of the reasons why when we open up every single week, we only allow 5 new clients, to go through the full consultation with us. And because we want to give every one of you more attention, we want to really understand about your needs and wants and how we can come out a solution to help you plan your property. Which is why every single week we only have enough time for 5 new clients every single week. All right, so later on I'll share with you all the process of how you all can get in touch with us. And because we are very strict in selection, okay, we also don't want to waste your time, and we have limited time as well. We want to give you our full attention, but at the same time, there must be something that you need that I can help. Okay, there must be a certain form of problems that you are facing right now regarding your property that I know my team and we are able to help you with. Then that's why we can actually go on to the consultation. All right, so besides location, entry price, rentability, all right, are you guys learning something? If you guys are learning something, just type L, okay? Because these are all very important, even before you start buying a property, okay? Of course, the transformation of the entire area is also very crucial. Okay, so many a times when we are buying a property, we just tend to look at, because I know Farrer, I know East Side, that's why I buy. But how many of you can actually ask yourself, what is the transformation? What is the transformation around the area? That actually, so let me share with you. Just now I was guiding you guys on how do we see growth, right? How do we see, for location per se? Because why today what we want to do is to look at how we're going to sell, how we're going to exit. And today, how we look at growth is because we study the transformation. In Singapore, no matter what you like, what you do, okay, our property will only grow if there's transformation in Singapore, around the area. So the next question you must ask yourself is, then Piccadilly and Live at MB, are there any major transformation happening? Ask yourself. I'm not saying that don't have, but I want you all to ask yourself, if let's say you really kind of pinpoint these two projects that you want to explore more into, you ask yourself, what are the transformations happening in these two locations? Because in Singapore, no matter what you want, okay, it's not about today I buy high floor, I make most money. It's not about because today I buy unblock, I make the most money. It's not. Everything is about transformation. Okay, which area in Singapore has the most transformation will allow me to have the highest growth potential. Okay, this has been proven many, many times. Okay, and the only way that you are able to determine whether you are able to look at transformation is to really study into the master plan. Okay, you have to study into the master plan. Okay, so master plan, for those who are maybe not sure, master plan basically upgrades every 5 years. Okay, so this is one of the main key things that when we are studying urban planning in Singapore, we study it a lot so that we are able to guide our clients, whether you're buying for own stay or for investments, right, to path out for the next 5 to 10 years. And that's why we use master plan. Right, so this is very commonly available. Okay, so maybe after today's session, you can go to URA. Okay, you can go and search master plan. Okay, the last master plan is actually 2019. So you can actually search master plan 2019. And then you have a whole list of areas, a lot of maps for you to kind of take a look. If you are able to kind of study this carefully, you spend a lot more time to study this, you will definitely be able to pinpoint a predictable property that has transformation and has growth. Okay, so this is the key point. But of course, on our end, because we are professionals in this, right, we have already been doing this for many, many years. We not only look at the master plan. Okay, master plan is public information that you can get access. So what we study, besides master plan, we also study another one called concept plan. Okay, concept plan, of course, this is not easily available. Okay, because we are in the business, we get access to some of all these things that we paid lots of money for the data, for the analysis. All right, so concept plan is a bigger picture from what the government is trying to achieve. And this is usually a 20 to 30 years plan. Okay, so existing right now, right now we are undergoing a 2012 concept plan. Okay, without you not knowing. So since 2012, there's a big concept plan that we are undergoing right now. Okay, at the same time. That's why this entire concept plan will last until 2030. Okay, so this is the few magic numbers. So if you want to find out a little bit more, you can also just reach out to us so that we can guide you on how to look at properties accordingly. All right, so these are the few factors that I want every one of you, before you even start thinking about whether you're buying Piccadilly and live for MB, right, to start diving deeper into the location itself, and ask yourself some of all these questions. So my role in our consultation is not to sell you anything. I have nothing to sell you. All right, it's perfectly fine that you want to buy whatever you want. Okay, but my role is to really facilitate those who need help. All right, if you need help in terms of your property, that you needed some guidance, you needed some clarity, kind of you don't know what is happening, but you want to do something, and you couldn't make your way out. Like, should I do this or not? Should I do that or not? One day you think of this, one day you think of that. So my role and my team's role is really to facilitate this entire process. All right, by going through our entire REI method. Okay, so our REI method, the first stage that we always guide you all is on review. What do we review about? We review about your current property situation. What are your current your property situation that you're in, that perhaps you want to do something about it. All right, so we want to get you from your A, which is where you are right now, to B. Perhaps there are some desires or certain plans that you have that you don't know how to go about it. All right, you know what you want to do, but you just don't know how to execute. You don't know what kind of properties to buy. And that's where we come in to help you to get clarity in terms of your property plans. Okay, and this is very, very crucial. And it's also, that's why in review, we spend a lot of times. Okay, we spend quite a number of hours to guide you all onto what is going on for your property before we even decide, should we be selling or should we be buying another property. Okay, so it's also after the review stage that we will move on to our evaluation. Okay, our evaluation stage. And when we come to a consensus that, okay, today we have this plan that we want to do, all right, then we will go into the evaluation stage where we will cover a lot more data, numbers. Okay, and most importantly is what is the best plan. Okay, what solution do we want to have? All right, could it be buying another property, or should we be selling our current property? That's why we need to actually go through all this during the evaluation stage. And of course, most importantly, you must understand what is happening in the marketplace. Like today, right now, if let's say in this time, property prices are high, there are less and less properties out there, the supply are very little, interest rate are going to increase. This is confirmed, so does it make sense for us to still buy properties now? You see, so 90% of consumers out there or homeowners cannot make a decision. It's not that they don't want, it's because they lack the knowledge. They lack the understanding of what is happening before they can make sense of what do they want to do. Which is why for our role as your consultant is to provide you enough information, enough knowledge, so that you can make a sound decision as a family, with a family, okay, to decide should you all be doing this or not doing this. If not, every time you will be just thinking, but you don't know what is happening. Okay, so it's only after the evaluation stage, right, that as we go into the identify, when we go to identify the correct type of properties, how many of you agree that if let's say today I bring you from step 1 to step 2, now to step 3, you'll be very confident about what's happening in the marketplace. You're very confident about how you are selecting a certain property, whether it's for rental or for your own stay or for investment. You're very confident that when you enter the market, you do not have much questions or worries about you're buying it wrongly. Okay, so this is one of the very key elements that we always advise our clients in that. Today, you want to buy property, you want to buy already, and you want to be very excited about it. You want to be super excited about it, and when you sleep, you don't even think about the property. Okay, the only time when you are worried about the property is if you did not go through a proper discussion. You buy based on, because I think this is the best. Wow, my friend tell me, buy here, then I go and buy. Right? Then I can tell you, after you purchase, when you go back home, every single night, you'll be keep thinking, did I buy a correct one? Did I buy a correct one? All right. So just now when I was helping my client purchase the property, she's so excited. When she was on the way home, she texted me, wow, Edmund, the property you helped me to buy, wow, I'm so happy. And then she now home proud already. wow, the other facing that I was seeing, actually lucky I never go for those. Because those facing, all facing the buildings. Wow, the one that you selected for me, unblocked. I'm very happy. All right, so she got quite a high floor for investment, about at 18th floor unit, right? So she's very happy. And this is what we want for you as a client. Okay, we want to help you as a family to be better, whether in terms of creating wealth or you want to use your property to create a legacy for your own retirement. These are what we want to do. But we cannot choose before we understand. Okay, so you want to what? First of all, build up your knowledge in terms of property. Once you build up your knowledge already, you'll be very, very confident of what you want to do about your property. All right. So usually, whenever we have our clients come to us, every single week, that's why we only allow 5 new clients to go on board our full consultation pledge. Okay, our full consultation is not just a 1-2 hour kind of thing. It's a very long process. It takes up at least 10 hours of our time, of our research time, so that we can actually guide you along on what's the objective. The objective is to make sure that you select the correct type of properties that you can make 6 figures from. All right, and undergoing our entire REI method. Okay, so this is the REI method. Okay, so if you are in our community, all right, you should be able to see some of all this around as I shared. Okay, because REI method is the one that actually guides us in terms of the different principles. Okay, what I've shared with you today, just based on location itself, can you see that there are so many different perspectives that perhaps you have missed out? And that's the only reason why in our personalized consultation, we are able to dive in even deeper, okay, for our clients to kind of select correct our properties for them. Okay, so as I mentioned, for the many of you who are joining me, whether you're on live on Facebook, YouTube, or whether you're on Zoom session, this is a private session. And that's why I want to also thank you for taking your time out to learn things along with me, that I also will open up you guys for this consultation. But as I mentioned, we only allow 5 new clients every single week, which is why this will be on a case-by-case basis that you need to apply. All right. Shortly, I'll be putting in the link there. I want you guys to actually complete the information. Okay, once you complete the information, what will happen is either me or my team will get in touch with you. Okay, they will get in touch with you to kind of understand what is happening in your property situation. Right. So there's a list of questions inside this discovery call that you have to kind of complete and fill it up. Okay, so only when you are giving me enough information, then I will be able to kind of help you on what is happening to your property, and maybe there are certain plans that you want that you are unaware. I can help you with. Then I will be able to kind of help you in your property situation. All right. So the discovery call link is really inside the chat. Okay. So if today you really need some help about your property, whether it's choosing properties or you kind of think about Piccadilly or live an MB, and you cannot decide what kind of property to buy, perhaps going through this discovery call will give you more clarity. Give you more clarity about what you should be doing way before you should decide what kind of properties to buy. Right, so I think this is very, very crucial for everybody when we are looking at purchasing a property, because this is a what $1 million property, or it's not like 10 cent, 20 cent, $1. It's $1 million kind of decision. Shouldn't we actually take a step back and really plan it out properly and get more clarity before we decide what we should be doing? All right. So as I mentioned, the link is already inside the chat. If you really need a reach out, okay, you really need some help, all right, fill out the information. If we see that we are able to actually help you, we will get in touch with you. Okay, like I mentioned, for the full consultations, the one we only can allow 5 per week. Okay, 5 new clients per week to kind of undertake this entire journey with them, because we are going to use a lot of resources, a lot of time and effort on our end, based on the research, based on data crunching, analysis is going to be there. All right. So for those who are joining me, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom, right, this is an opportunity that perhaps if you want clarity, you can actually reach out to us. All right. So in the meantime, I'll just take the next 5 minutes to answer any other questions that you have for me before we end off this weekly live stream. All right. So we do this weekly live stream every single week on Tuesday, 7:30. Okay. On some days, if let's say I have certain consultations or urgent matters that I need to attend, I will also inform it earlier in the private group. Okay, the private group link is also inside the chat that you can actually scroll up, and then you should be able to see. All right, you can join us there. All right, so whenever there's a live stream, you'll be notified, and you can actually come on board to learn new things about property and keep yourself updated as a real estate insider. All right, I will take the next 3 minutes or so to answer any questions if you have. If you have the questions, just type in the chat or inside the comment section so that I can know how to help you. Okay, let me see. Let's see if there's any questions. All right. If there's no questions, don't worry. You can always reach out inside the group. You know, if you have any questions, you can always suddenly you think of something, you can put it out into the group. That's your direct access to me and my team. All right. So a lot of times people don't have what do you call it? They don't have people that is in investments, people in property. That's why they are always making certain mistakes. All right. But right now you have no excuse. Okay, you are in the group where you have direct access to people who are professionals in this and has been doing this for a long time. You know, many of our clients are also in that group. So that's why we are very confident that we're able to help you in your next step in terms of your property journey. All right. So if you really need certain guidance, perhaps you just sold your property and you're in the market hunting. Okay, you are in the market hunting for the correct type of properties. Then you may want to just fill up the form. All right, the discovery call form. All right, and fill up as much information. The more information you provide me, the better I can understand. Me and my team, then we will get in touch with you to see how we can help you. All right. Thank you so much. And if there's no question, I see you guys somewhere or another, whether it's email, Telegram, Facebook, anywhere. You should be able to see me and my team's research moving on. All right. I thank you for your time for joining me in this weekly live stream. And I see you guys next week. All right. Cheers. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. I see you guys soon.